Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you can't already tell, I am turning 20, so I want to do this video that I've seen a lot of YouTubers do, and it's basically like the 20 lessons I've learned at 20. And it's just so fun to watch what everyone learns because life honestly teaches you so many things. That sounded very cringy. Yeah, so I've actually broken down the 20 lessons into 9 things that I have learned, like that I'm done learning and kind of mastered, but not really because you can't really master life stuff. But so 9 things that I have learned, and then 9 things that I'm learning as of right now, and also I saved the last 2 for relationship lessons that I've learned because I think that's a very important and big component of my life. It's weird to say that I'm turning 20 because ever since I was a kid I've been dreaming of this moment. Like I fantasized what it's like to be in the 20s, so like all throughout the 20s. I think as a kid my ideal age was to be like 21 to 25. Like that's when I thought everything happens. But as I grew older and I got closer to 20s, that is no longer true. But anyways, I still think my 20s will be very fun. I think it's a big part of like getting to know who I am, since I am getting into that right now. But yeah, let's just go right into it. And the first thing that I want to talk about is this idea that I formed for like working 100% but also remember to rest 100%. And so this happened because in the past I've always been working 100%. Like I put 100% effort into my school stuff, my work stuff, but when I came home I found out that I was constantly like very tired, and in the end I realized that it's good to always put 100% effort into your work and stuff, but if you don't put that same effort into resting, then you'll never be able to fully recover. So then that's when I learned to balance out like work and resting. The next one I want to talk about is productivity, and about how productivity doesn't always mean doing more. Sometimes it just means to do the best you can or use the time to the best you can. For some reason, for me, it was really hard to kind of understand that productivity does not necessarily mean getting more work done. Productivity can even be like using 10 minutes to rest instead of doing a full hour long of cram session or something like that. So it's just like learn what productivity means to you and kind of adapt that into your life. But yeah, I don't think I'm explaining things well, but let's move on to number 3. Always try something, because even if you fail or if you don't like it, it doesn't mean that you didn't learn from it. And this is like my go-to advice for first years. It's just like, you know what, university is like a new time for you to explore new things, so why not just try everything, because you honestly don't know if you like something until you try it. This is something that I think is kind of obvious, but it doesn't make sense until you actually do it, which is what a lot of my lessons are. It's like it sounds like it's obvious things, but honestly until you actually have gone through it, it's only words, it's not anything significant. So yeah, number 3, always try something, and try something new. That's kind of like what I'm always trying to do, just trying new things. Okay, so number 4 is kind of cheesy, but it's just to always be yourself, because at the end of the day you will attract the people and opportunities that reflect yourself the most. And this is kind of what I learned through doing a lot of interviews for jobs, for volunteer positions. But whenever I get asked like interview advice and stuff, I always just say to be yourself, because I truly believe that if an employer or an organization wants you, they would want you for who you are. So like I know it's like kind of hard to trust yourself and trust your own abilities, but I've always gone by the rule that to be yourself, especially in these interview situations, because you don't want to be hired for something and then always have to put on a show once you get in because you weren't being your true self during the initial periods. And I also think this is true for like friendships. I always stress being myself with the people around me because I don't want them to like this me that they see that is not real, you know. But that being said, I'm still in the progress of trying to figure out who I am and who I want to be, so it's kind of hard to say how to be yourself, but I don't know, it's just that's just one of the things I kind of live by now. It's just to always be yourself, and for me that means being my like weird stuff sometimes with my friends, or like even at an interview once. This was an interview for a job that I'm doing right now, and it's a job on campus. During the interview, I actually talked about how I missed a midterm and in university, and that was kind of like a major fail for me, but I still said it, and I was talking about it, and I was just talking about the lessons I've learned from it. So honestly, just be yourself, and then you never know, because yeah, just be yourself. I don't know. Alright, so number 5 is not really like a deep life lesson, but it's just that water is very important for you. And especially these few years, I've been like constantly, like whenever something's wrong with my body, I'm just like, oh no, I really need to drink more water. And honestly, I don't drink a lot of water, but I just want to say that this is a lesson that I've learned, is that water is very important for your health, for your skin, for just everything. Like water can save your life, basically. So number 6 is tied to like lifestyle, healthy habits too, and is sleep. So sleep is very important for you, and I feel like an adult saying this, but even I don't get enough sleep. Like last night I slept I think around 4 AM because I was just so excited to edit my videos, and I don't know, once I get work started, I don't want to stop it, because like I kind of take advantage of when my brain is in that workflow mode. So yeah, so this is something that I still need to do, but I still put it in this category of the things that I've learned, because I fully acknowledge that like sleep is important. So for number 7, we're getting back into the deep life lessons, and so this one's basically, during the tougher times, just remember that time moves on and things are only temporary. And this is something that I've constantly been like reminded of whenever final season come along, basically because it feels like you're suffering for that like 1, 2, 3 weeks of studying, right? But just remember during your finals that like this is only temporary. Final seasons don't last like forever and ever, and this is just something that can go on to anything. I know like final season is kind of like a minor struggle, but if you were to talk about like emotional struggle and everything is still temporary. And this came in really handy back in high school when I was going through my eating disorder, and basically, even though I didn't believe myself, I reminded myself every day that this is only temporary, this will like pass by. Alright, moving on to number 8. Other people don't think about you as much as you think they do. By this I mean like strangers won't really be judging your outfit or how you look that day, so just be yourself. So we're getting back into the idea of being yourself, but this one is just mostly about like how others think and how you think about yourself. So I am someone who thinks about what other people think about me a lot, if that makes sense. So like if I'm just walking down the street, I would be like, oh my god, what if that stranger thinks my outfit's like weird? Or like going into the classroom, if I'm, oh my god, like this I hate, if I'm like late and I go into the classroom, I'll just be thinking about all the other things that the other students can think of me and what the prof thinks of me, and I think that's just really ruined my whole image for myself, because I just always thought about what other people would think in a negative way, so that translates into how I think about myself, and everything just becomes very negative. But just like a lesson that I've learned is that honestly, people don't think that much about you. It's just like, if you were to flip the situation around, would you be that person that's always judging the other person? Like no, like, or for me at least, I won't be judging a stranger that walks by and being like, oh my god, their outfit's weird today. Like if I don't do that, then that probably means that other people don't do it too, and if they do, whatever, it's fine. Just like ignore them, you won't even know, because that's their inner thoughts. But it's just like, don't overthink things yourself, you know. Alright, so number 9 that I have is embrace being introverted. And this was something that I've learned for a long time already, because I think ever since the beginning I knew that I was different than all those other students in the class that were so like brave to just like speak out, and like they would always raise their hand up to answer questions, because even that gave me a lot of anxiety. And not that that directly ties to being introverted, but I knew that I was kind of different, and it kind of all made sense to me when I started reading more into introversion and I learned about the Myers-Briggs. And as much as I know that that personality quiz is not like 100% accurate, just because you're answering everything as the way that you think you see yourself and everything, but I do really like it. So I don't know, I just really liked the one that I've gotten, and I just love reading stuff online about like INFP, blah blah blah. But yeah, so number 9 is embrace being introverted, or whatever your personality type is. You know, everything can be either seen as a strength or a weakness, so choose to see it as a strength, but also learn how it can be a weakness, so you can like not let it be a weakness, if that makes sense. Alright, so now we're moving into the things that I am learning as of right now, and number 1 on the list is just to put yourself first. So to put myself first, and this is something that I'm like really struggling with, because I tend to be someone that always put other people like before me, and that's kind of what I live by. Like, I tend to put others' needs, wants, whatever before myself, because I enjoy helping them, and in seeing them, like in seeing their goals and stuff being fulfilled, it kind of gives me a sense of joy. So that's what I've been living by. Like, I like helping people like since the beginning, right? So it's kind of hard to flip the situation and to learn to always put myself first. But this year especially, I've been challenging myself, and I want to challenge myself even more in the next year, but just to do more things for myself and make decisions based on my own thoughts, and don't do things or make decisions because of other people, or at least do that less. Alright, so number 2, my stomach just growled. Number 2 is not a race to the finish line, so know that it is okay to progress at your own pace. This is something that I started learning since last year in university, because I feel like going into university, a lot of people think of it as like a race, like, oh, who can finish the degree in 4 years, 5 years, and if you take more than 5 years, that's like, oh no. Like, people don't think of it in a good way for some reason, and I kind of am learning right now that it's okay to go at your own pace, and it is okay to be slower than other people in the same era as you, or the ones that like your peers and your friends, because it is a journey for everyone, their individual lives. It is not a race that you do all together, and there is no like definite finish line, right? You decide your own goal and your own finish line, so don't think of it as like a race. And yeah. Alright, so number 3 is don't be afraid to spend money, but spend wisely on yourself. This is something that I am learning right now, because I think I'm still someone who, like, it is hard for me to spend money on myself. It's not that I don't spend a lot of money on myself, but it's just like I never think that I am worthy of like really expensive things, like really nice things. But the problem with that is that I just end up buying so many lower quality versions of those things that I want, and in the end I am not as happy as if I were to just get that expensive thing. So one example is that I just returned my iPad Pro that I bought and I wanted so much. If you watch my Christmas vlogs, it was in there, but I basically bought the new iPad Pro, and I wanted an iPad just for so long, because I wanted to finally start doing digital art and calligraphy on the iPad, and I was so excited to get it. But just like the few days after getting it, I was constantly thinking about like, oh my god, I just spent over 1.5k on this. Is this really worthy? Am I worthy of this? And in the end, I decided to return my iPad. Like, as of right now, I still don't know if I made the right decision, but I just hate this like constant problem I have with buying expensive things. Like, I just overthink it in my mind, and I don't know, like I just need to get over the idea that like it is okay to treat yourself. And I think as I grow older, I also need to learn that more expensive but better quality things are kind of better than buying a bunch of lower quality cheaper things. So number 4 of the things that I'm learning right now is that although it is good to set high standards, sometimes my high standards can be like too high, honestly, and I just need to learn to be able to be okay with not meeting those standards. I don't know if there's a way for my standards to be lowered, but I know that my reaction to them can be different, and I just need to learn to not be like, not to not be perfect, but that it is okay to not be perfect, and like don't like guilt yourself just because you're not perfect, and don't harm yourself just trying to achieve that perfection. Number 5 is that although I am comfortable with the people that I'm with and I'm comfortable with the relationship that we have, I still need to learn to open up more, and that's just because I am naturally a very secretive person. It's not that I keep things from people, it's like if they ask, I am more than happy to share, but it's just like naturally I am not as open as I want to be or as like my friends want me to be, because it's just hard to talk to someone when they're so closed off, and I feel that, like I get that, but I don't know why I'm just naturally more secretive. Not secretive, I just keep more things to myself, and that in the sense of like emotional things is just not good, because it's always good to release what you feel inside, and I always tell it to other people, but I just don't think about it in my own terms, and I like to keep things to myself when I always tell other people to share what they think. So that's kind of like weird, so I need to work on that for myself. Number 6 is something that I'm really excited about because this is like big, but basically number 6, what I am learning now is that networking is not as bad as you think it is. So when I first went to university, I thought of it as something that you would do just to gain something for yourself, and I thought it was kind of like selfish in a way, but now that I think about it, like networking is totally not that. Like, I don't know, it's just my whole idea about networking has changed. So now, having learned that, I want to learn how to network, and it's like, I don't know. But yeah, basically I just like that moment where I realized that networking wasn't as bad as I think it is, and it's actually a very good thing, changed my whole perspective about networking, branding, marketing, that kind of stuff. Number 7, number seven that I am learning right now is that bubble tea is not cheap. Sad. Like, I didn't put this in the category of something I've learned, because as of right now I am still buying and consuming a lot of bubble tea, and I'm not like exactly proud of it, but at the same time, like, I just love bubble tea. But now that I'm adulting and I'm spending my own money, I need to start budgeting. I am realizing how expensive and unaffordable it is to be like this in the long run. So I definitely need to do something about my bubble tea consumption in the future. But as of right now, I am just learning that bubble tea is not cheap. Number 8 is something that I need to realize for myself, but basically you have a lot more supporters than you think you do. So take that and learn how to be supportive of yourself. And so that is something that I'm working on right now, and I'm learning that like I have to believe in myself. I have to support myself if I want to do something well, and like, why can't I support myself when so many other people are supporting me? So like, I need to take the support that I get from like everyone else and kind of remind myself that I am like, I deserve this support, and like it's okay to be proud of myself. That's just something that I'm learning right now, and yeah. Moving on to number 9, which is the last one for what I am learning right now, and that is just to not be restrictive of yourself. And this goes for like anything. Like I talked before about like buying things, and so don't be restrictive of buying things for yourself. One big example that I have is especially to do with food, and it's just like back in high school I was very restrictive of my food intake in both like calories and the type of foods that I'm consuming, and it was just not a good time for me. And what I've learned is that the more you let go of that restrictive mindset, the more things get back into what they're supposed to be. For me especially, like the more I let go of that restrictive mindset of like, you can't eat this because it's junk food, you can't eat this because it's past like 10 p.m. or whatever, the more I let go of that, and the more of like freedom I gave myself just to eat depending on what I want and what my body feels like, that has basically put me into my healthy weight. And like, in my own opinion, I think like I don't want to sound like bragging or anything, but I think I look the best right now. Like, this is the best I'm looking, the best I'm feeling, and this is compared to when I tried to restrict myself in order to get that ideal body that I wanted back in high school. So now we're moving on to the last 2 life lessons, and these are just things that I've learned in my relationship so far, and I think they are very important, especially to my relationship, as well as I think they're just good advice. Or if you were to ask me for like the relationship advice, I think these two would be very important ones. And the first one is just to not expect your partner to be who you think is the perfect partner, because like I think this kind of applies to like anyone, to like friends, to just any other relationship that you have with people, but especially in the relationship context, like don't force your own like image of who your partner wants to be onto your actual partner, because they have the freedom to be who they are, and at the end of the day, like you want them to love you for who you are, so you have to love them for who they are. And in the beginning of our relationship, I think I was kind of putting like I had expectations for like who, like how I wanted my partner to be, and those kind of expectations just kind of like ruined my day at the end, because I would be like, oh my god, why is he not like this? Things just got a lot better once I learned that I shouldn't be forcing certain expectations onto the person that I am with, because I just honestly want to be with them for who they are themselves, and not a false image that I create in my mind of that perfect partner. And for my second one is just to give compliments, and this is something that I've actually learned through, I think, just like being with Ryan. Like I think he really likes compliments, and once I learned that, it's just like it honestly feels good to give compliments too. And once I started giving compliments, and then like he would just start giving more compliments too, and it just be like this cycle. But basically this idea came from 5 love languages, and I actually have the book, and I don't know, that just taught me a lot about how different people see relationships and how different people get different things out of relationships. So yeah, just give compliments, or I guess it depends on your own relationship, but like I think figuring out what each other's love languages are is like pretty important to do, and it's just a good way to like, I don't know, just improve the relationship, I guess, because like whether that being receiving compliments, receiving gifts, receiving acts of service, like all those kind of things, if you do them to your partner, like good things would come, because it is always good to treat your partner. Yeah, that's it for my 20 life lessons that I've learned at 20, and honestly I don't know if anything good came out of this video, because I've just been rambling for like a long time. And yeah,